Good, good morning, students. So, once again, I, Sonia Augustine, welcome you to the English class. If you remember, last time we were doing the second lesson, Daydreams. So, please open your textbooks to page number 2 and we'll continue with the lesson. Now, to give you a recap of the lesson, we were talking about a couple who spent a lot of time in idle talk. And if you remember, I even told you to look at the picture. Now, what were they discussing about? They were discussing that the husband wanted to keep some cows. And if you remember, the wife didn't like the idea much. And I hope, students, you remember the reason for it. That is because she had to do a lot of work. That means she would have to feed the cows, she would have to walk them, bathe them, milk them. But then her husband manages to convince her and says that they would have lots of milk if they would have more cows. And that is also what the picture alongside indicates. Then they go on to dream, as we say, daydream, that they would have plenty of dahi and butter and ghee. And the wife goes on a step further and she starts thinking that not only that, they would also have earthen pots which would be filled with different things. And the last line where we had stopped was where she would give the remaining pot to send milk to her sister. Now we'll be reading further. I hope everyone has got the line. The line starts with send milk. Send milk to your sister? Who said you should send milk to your sister? There will be plenty of milk if we have so many cows. Why shouldn't I send it to my sister? Now, suddenly, the husband gets a bit irritated because he feels that what is the need to send the remaining milk to the sister? So the wife says there'll be plenty of milk and we'll be having so many cows, because you all know they had decided that they are going to have many cows. So she says, if it's extra, why not give it to my sister? So simple. But the husband did not like the idea. If you can see the tone, he gets a little irritated and he says, why? Because we are going to sell it in the market. That's why. I will decide what to do with all that milk, and not a drop of it goes to your sister. Remember. See the tone of the husband. He makes himself very clear. Here we have the wife who is very interested to send the remaining milk to her sister. And here the husband is getting all irritated and angry. Because what does he want to do with the milk, students? He wants to take the remaining milk and sell it in the market so that they earn a little bit of more money. And so both of them have a fight. So now I hope you are clear with the situation. The wife wants to give the extra milk to the sister, and the husband decides to sell that milk in the market so that he earns some money. Now the fight further intensifies because nor is the husband listening, nor is the wife listening. Now it's fun to see what happens next. I'll see how you can stop me from sending a pot full of milk to my dear sister. I do all the hard work running after the cows. So, naturally, I will decide what happens to the milk. Just try stopping me, the wife exclaimed. Now, the wife is very smart. She says, I am the one who is doing all the work. If you remember, students, in the beginning only she had said that if there are more cows, there is more work. And all the work was supposed to be done by the wife. So she tells her husband that I am the person who is going to do all the work of bathing, of feeding, of walking, everything. And if there is extra milk, accordingly, I should be the one who will decide what happens with the extra milk. And so they both start fighting because the wife is very adamant to send all the milk to her husband. Not to her husband, but to her sister. We'll see further on the next page. Is that so? Shouted the husband. Watch this then. He began to lift and smash the earthen pots one by one. His wife began to scream. Ooh, this was something that was not very good. Both these people, the husband and wife, were shouting on top of their voices. And you can see everywhere there is an exclamation mark, which shows that they were really screaming and shouting at each other. Like it was literally a terrible fight that was going on. And the wife is just adamant and she's like, no, I have to give that to my sister. And the husband is like, he says, no, if it has to go to your sister, no, I will never let that happen. And then the husband, in all the anger, what does he do? He began to lift and smash the earthen pots one by one. And the wife began to scream. Now, this was like a terrible thing that was actually happening in the whole house. And they were screaming and the husband was smashing the pots and all that. Gopal Band, who was passing by, heard all the commotion and rushed inside. Now there was this man called Gopal Band who was passing by, and he heard all the sounds that was coming from inside the house. And then he decided that he should go and actually see. Like, if you're passing by and there is some fight taking place, you obviously are very curious to know what is actually happening. Even though you are a part of it or no, but you at least have that curiosity or that concern to go and see what is happening. So the same thing was done by Gopal Band. Gopal Band also, he went there and he went to see whether everything was okay. So he decided to go in the house and see what happened. When he heard what had happened, he picked up a stout stick that stood in the corner and began to swish it through the air and pound it on the floor. Now, this Gopal Band found it very strange when he heard everything that had happened. So what did this man do? He picked out a stick. He searched all over the place, and in the corner he found a stick. He took that stick and he began to swish it through the air and pound it on the floor. So you can imagine the scene over there. The husband and the wife, first they two were fighting, and suddenly we have this person who was passing by called Gopal Band. He comes over there, he takes the stick and he starts pounding it on the floor. The husband and wife were both astounded to see his antics. Imagine the state of the husband and wife when this person is swishing the stick and pounding it on the floor and creating so much of noise. They both were astounded. Astounded over here means surprised. Both of them were surprised and they could do nothing but keep looking at what Gopal Band was actually doing. Both of them could not understand what was actually happening. They thought that this man would come and help them to sort out the fight. But what had actually happened was Gopal Band started creating even more noise. So both the husband and wife were actually very surprised to see him doing like that. Obviously, suddenly a stranger enters into your house and starts doing something which is very different. obviously everyone will be surprised, and at that moment you won't even know how to react. So the same thing happens when Gopal Band enters the scene. Okay students, we will do it till here and we'll continue in the next class. So what happens after Gopal Band comes, what is the fight really resolved, that we'll see in the next class. Till then, thank you and take care.